Morning.
Hi, Dylan. How are you?
Pretty good. Tired. Just got done with practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going good. I wish we had some more competition in spring, but we've just been training hard lately. But yeah, it's been good.
Good, good, good. Sounds good.
Do we have a case study this week?
Yeah, I believe we do, don't we? Um,
Not sure.
that's in what is it? The
I think it's week 7.
Taylor, I want to say, is the name of it. Let me just page over to that the Moodle page for that. I'll take a quick look.
This is the worst.
Looks like that's not until week 8, Dylan. So you got a little time there.
Awesome.
In week 7 here in 471, we've got a homework assignment is basically going to cover the weighted
Maybe
average
it's
cost of capital. So
okay.
I want to go through the practice problems that I posted on WAC today in our little session here.
Yeah.
And it probably won't be very long. I mean, it's a very long meeting. It's like whatever, 10 questions, 10 problems that I posted that, I just want all of you guys to be comfortable with, the formula for WAC, what it means, why it's important,
Yeah,
different
of
pieces
course.
of financing that go into capital planning and how WAC is then determined. Okay, so
Yeah, it'll be good to have a understanding of it before we actually have to like do things with it next week.
yeah, I thought so. I don't know. This course isn't really so terribly intensive. You got some time in between the cases.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of made up these assignments to fill in week 6 through 10. But they're not terribly long assignments. And
Yeah. No, it works out good for me. This week I have a stacked week because I'm doing a financial advising internship over the summer and
oh, okay.
part part of that, I have to pass a state insurance test because we also do health insurance.
Uh-huh.
And so I have been like studying for this, and I have the test on Thursday. So I just gotta keep on studying a lot this week because it's supposed to be pretty tough.
Sure, sure. Well, good, man. I'm glad it's working out for you that you got a little bandwidth to, devote to that.
Yeah,
You're
definitely.
not, so terribly tied up with, you know, this course or the other one you're in with me, the 470 course. Um, but yeah, it seems like you're doing pretty well. I'm pretty pleased with what I see from you, and I'll be calling on you later this afternoon on a question or two on the assignment that you just got done doing. Um, but yeah, I liked your answer to the final little short answer question, number 15. I liked your answer. I got my notes here for that meeting in front of me too, since
Yeah.
most of you guys are since most of you guys are in that class too. I can kind of double up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's kind of nice. I mean, I'm glad it worked out this way. You know, I'm not usually a Zoom meeting kind of teacher. I just primarily teach online, so this is all a little new to me, but I'm kind of getting the hang of it and getting a little more comfortable with it. And
Yeah.
I'm glad to make more of a connection with you guys. Obviously, it's a little easier to get you guys engaged in the course when we have these face to face or I can see your face meetings.
Yeah.
You just build a little bit more of a connection, and it's good that just about everybody in this course is also in 470. I just think it just bodes well you know for everybody. Looks like Fabian's joined us now too. Good, another guy that's in both of my courses this term. How you
Hi,
doing,
good
Fabian?
morning. Good, good. Had a productive weekend. How about you?
Oh, good. Yeah, I have to say that I did. I got a lot of my work done in some of the other courses that I teach, and I also teach at LSU. So I had a chance to kind of work through a whole bunch of my courses that I'm teaching for them this term. And but yeah, and now the weather's finally starting to break here in the Chicagoland area where I live. We're finally starting to get some decent weather, so I got a chance to get out and enjoy the weather a little bit. So that's good.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's just us three so far. I don't know if Nina's going to be joining us or who else. I'm trying to remember who else is with us here. Um, Aaron. I think Aaron mentioned that he couldn't make it today, so it looks like it might just be us three. So let's just begin. But yeah, I was telling Dylan, Fabian, that I just wanted to walk through um, the uh, the practice problems that I posted on WAC, and I think I got those up on the screen right now. Right? Can you everybody see those?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Then let's just start with these and we can kind of go from there. I think I got a couple of sort of conceptual problems at the very end. I didn't lay it out in order that I really wanted to. I was kind of whipping through this real quick. So let's start with numbers 9 and 10, and then we'll circle back up to 1 through 8. But 9 and 10 are more conceptual. And the ninth problem here is from what sources can a company typically raise capital? Do these different sources of capital all charge at the same rate? And why or why not? So let's get down to what I wrote as an answer on this. But yeah, essentially, you got every company needing funds for running their projects, and you know, for that reason, the sources need to be a little bit verified. They should be based on the company's own discretion. All that's kind of common sense. Um, Non-bank lenders like angel financing or commercial banks, like the First National Bank on your corner, or those kind of institutions are typically, going to be sources of funds. You can use cash flow that you generate from operations. Suppliers and preferred stockholders can be sources of funds for raising capital. So there's really a number of different means of raising capital. Um, and essentially, I just go on to write that the sources of funds for company are owners of the company, non-bank lenders, commercial banks. All of that is typically your standard fare, and the rates are obviously going to be different for each of these, right? That makes sense. You're not always going to have the same, prevailing interest rate that dictates the rates that you're going to have to pay on any borrowed funds. I mean, if you're using equity financing, that might be much less or possibly even greater than maybe debt financing. If you decide you want to issue bonds, if you want to go through the process of issuing stock to generate funds, that's going to be potentially different if you go to an angel financer or a group of financiers. They might charge a different interest rate for any borrowed funds. So obviously, rates are going to be different from the different possible sources that you can use. I think that's all pretty much common sense. But the next question I thought was a pretty interesting one, so I'm going to circle back up to it again. And essentially, the question is, why is the yield to maturity on a bond the appropriate cost of debt financing? And you might think that's kind of an easy question because the yield to maturity is essentially the required rate of return, right? So any yield to maturity that you calculate for debt for a bond issue or whatever is going to be the appropriate interest rate to use. But essentially, yield to maturity is the internal rate of return, okay, expected on a bond by an investor who buys and holds the securities or bonds until their maturity. Okay, so the whole methodology is based on the same assumption that the entire coupon is reinvested, right? That the money you get is reinvested at the same rate as the bond. Okay, so bonds yield to maturity with annual coupon payment can be calculated on, with this formula here, which is essentially the price equals a par value times one over one plus the yield to maturity rate, right, to the nth power, depending on where you're at in the term. Okay, plus you get the par value piece, and then you get the coupon piece, which is the annuity piece. And that formula there, which I'm not going to read out, but if you look at that, that is essentially the formula for determining the present value of an annuity. Okay. And I mean, you look at a formula like that, and I wouldn't anticipate or expect any of you guys to really memorize formulas like that. I mean, when you got a calculator at hand, you can just, press a few buttons and come up with the present value of an annuity to get the coupon piece that contributes to a bond's total value. Just like you can do the lump sum or the total um, par value piece, which is the first part of the equation. Or you can do it in Excel too, obviously. But I did write down the formula there. It was also out of a textbook that I had for the questions, for the question itself. So I thought I'd include it. But you don't really need to commit these to memory. I don't think that is the crucial element. The crucial element is understanding, uh, what pieces go into a bond or this debt, in this case, the value for that, the valuation of a bond in this case, and that is the par value or the future value, and then the regular payments or the coupon payments that are made throughout the term. Those are the two pieces. but I go on to say that the yield to maturity on a bond is, appropriate. Is it is assumed to be held. The bond is assumed to be held until maturity. So as a result, the investor got the opportunity to take the full advantage from the bond, which is essentially, if you hold to maturity, you get the full value of the payment of the principal at the end of the term, plus every coupon payment that is made over the term of the bond. Okay. And essentially, the yield of maturity is the reward that the investors will get from the bond investment till the time of maturity, while assuming that the coupon payments would be reinvested at the same yield. Again, it's similar to the comment up above that I just got done reading through. And the yield to maturity is evaluated taking all the cash flows that the investor will get in the future. So it helps a borrower by looking at the yield to maturity and determining the actual price of the borrowing he had to incur. It determines the expected return that the investment is going to receive essentially over the course of the term for the debt. So that's why the yield of the maturity is a good measurement. And if you then come across any bond problems and they give you just the yield of maturity, or you are asked to calculate the yield of maturity on a bond, you'll know why that is an important element of the debt portion of any capital structure for any company. Okay, make sense? Okay, looks like Nina's with us. Emiliano, good. Hi, how are you? Looks like we got a couple people with us, so good. All right. Let's move to question number one here. Starting off with the problems where I actually asked you to do some calculations. I asked to calculate the weighted average cost of capital for a company with 10 billion in equity, 2 billion in debt, with an average interest rate of 4%, a beta of 1.2, risk-free rate of 0.5%, and a market risk premium of 5. So essentially, I mean, that might all sound a little confusing, but if you know the formula for calculating WACC, you simply have to just plug those numbers into the right places in the formula to get your answer. So essentially, I split it up into parts A and B as far as how I calculated it. You got a cost of equity. They just talk about two components of the capital structure, equity and debt. So I show how the cost of equity is determined, then I show how the cost of debt is determined, and then I just calculate a weighted average off of those costs, and that's essentially what you get. So in this case, the cost of equity is the 0.5% plus beta times the 5% is going to be 6.5%. Okay. Everybody good on that part so far? The cost of equity? Okay, I see some heads nodding, so that's good. Okay, we've got then the weight, right? The weight of the equity is 83.33%, which is, what is that? I got to go back up to get the original number. It should be the 10 billion in equity out of the total 12, right? 10 divided by 12 equals 0.8333. So yeah, so you got 10 billion out of the 12 billion in total financing is equity. So that's why you got a heavier, the 83.33% weight there. Here we are. And then that times the 6.5%, which is computed from, the cost of equity piece, equals 5.41%, which is then going to be added to the cost of the debt piece, or the weight of the cost of the debt piece. The cost of debt is the 4% that's given. That's the yield of maturity. So as we just talked about just a moment earlier, the cost of debt is equal to the yield of maturity of any debt, which is given as 4%. The weight is obviously then 100% minus the 83.33% to get 16.7% or 0.167. Times the 4% is going to equal 0.668. So if you add the weight of the equity of 5.41% and the weight of the cost of the debt, which is a 0.668, you get 6.078 or 6.1%, which is your WACC. Okay. Makes sense, everybody? Everybody good with that? I'm gonna step back for a moment. Has everybody had a chance to even look at this, or am I treading new ground here? You guys had a chance to at least look at these sample problems that I posted?
I just skimmed over it really quickly. Like I haven't had a chance to have a in-depth look at this.
Anyone else? How about you, Dylan? Have you had a chance to look at these at all?
No, honestly, I haven't really taken a look at it.
That's okay. You know, I could only guess at what level you guys have gotten into some of this stuff. And I know I just posted it a couple days ago, and it's early in the week. You guys got plenty of time to get to the WAC homework, which is due this coming Sunday night. But I did want to go over these. But you know, I think anybody else? Hey, Nina, did you have a chance to look at these, or Emiliano? Any of you guys get a chance to look at
Mm,
these at all?
I've read over it, but I haven't actually calculated anything yet.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, you guys have some time to either go into the homework directly and just work on it, or to work on these or look at these in some detail first, and then get into it. I mean, it's going to be your call. Oh, hey, Emiliano. Okay, your mic isn't working. No problem. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I what I would prefer to do then is maybe just kind of wind this up rather quickly instead of going through each one of these example problems. I would rather that you did try to take a look at them in preparation for a meeting on Wednesday. Okay, our Zoom session on Wednesday, we could go through questions 2 through 8 in more detail. I just went through 1 and then 9 and 10. But yeah, we can go through questions 2 through 8 in more detail. They get a little bit more involved as you continue on it. If you look very quickly, it's got some multiple choice questions here for parts problems 2 through 5. 6 is talking about preferred stock. 7 is talking about a portfolio. They get a little more involved, but they all circle back to the overall concept of WAC. They just kind of focus on different elements of WAC or different subtopics. But yeah, why don't you guys try to take some time to go through those, over the next couple days, and then on Wednesday we can go through those, because I don't really have much more to talk about than maybe these sample problems for this entire week, because we do have the WAC homework, which will be due at the end of the week on Sunday night, that I obviously don't want to get into that and give it away, or give any of the answers away, obviously. But I also do want to save a little time on Wednesday then to maybe answer any questions or if anything is unclear on the homework, because I obviously want you all to do well on that assignment. So when that assignment comes along, you hopefully won't have any problems or questions on it. Everything will be clear. So yeah, so if anything is unclear on the assignment itself, the week 7 assignment, then just let me know on Wednesday. But on Wednesday, why don't we plan on going through these other problems 2 through 8 on this WAC sample problems document, and we can go from there. Okay, that sound good?
I just have one more question regarding the homework.
Yeah.
It is in the Brooks text, chapter 11, the last exercise regarding adjusted WAC and the first exercise regarding Bedog project.
Okay, I'm a little lost. What's your question, Fabian?
You said that it's on page 350 in your document, right? That you submitted. But I think it's on page 351, so I just wanted to make sure that I'm doing the right stuff and not, you know.
Oh, okay. I had forgotten I'd even that's probably a residual from a previous term that just carried over in the setup because I haven't looked at those pages. What I'll do is
Right.
I'll find that document or that comment rather, and just make
Yeah.
sure it. But basically, your question is if you're doing the right example on page 350 or possibly 351.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into that and then I'll do my typical. I'll post you a quick question or a quick
Okay.
answer to that question.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Any other questions? Anything else going on before we say goodbye for the morning, the afternoon here in Chicago? Anything? Okay, good. Then what I will see 4 of you later on today.
Cool.
Okay.
See you later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you Wednesday. See you later.
You.
All right. Bye-bye.